What's up, folks? This is Acid Roots here. I'm going to talk to you guys about the Book of Ryan by Royce the 5'9". So I have reviewed Royce the 5'9" in the past. I think I reviewed Death is Certain and then his 2002 album, both of which kind of featured a more East Coast and minimalist type production. But as I noticed as time went along, I've kind of taken a couple years off from reviewing Royce the 5'9", but as things kind of went along, I started to notice that a lot of what I was listening to by him was hardcore rap. And I kind of bounced back and forth between whether or not I like mainstream, underground, or kind of some off to the side subgenres that I've reviewed in the past. But the main thing about it was that Royce the 5'9" basically always stayed underground. Now when Eminem showed up, eventually when he started giving him like actual guest verses more so than just like, a hook here and there or a beat or something like that. I mean, it actually kind of caused Royce the 5'9" to go up above ground a bit, but still his solo albums, I still feel like it's you're really kind of having pipe dreams if you think that he's going to have a charting single to call his own. But he said fuck all that and wound up doing it on Book of Ryan, even though I think Eminem happened to be a certain percentage of cause behind it. I mean, the the song that I'm talking about is of course Caterpillar, which I think even had a video towards it, and it actually wound up charting on the Billboard, which I think to date this is Royce the 5'9"'s highest charting single or song in general. So minus Lighters with Bruno Mars, but that's probably the reason why. So originally when I was going to review this album like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was going to give it like a 3, 2.5, or 3 out of 10. But then I started to realize that there are, and this kind of happens at times, but it usually happens after I purchase the project, I start to find like some other songs that were pretty worthwhile. So Royce the 5'9" actually released 4 singles off this project. The Boblo Boat with J. Cole, Dumb with featuring Boogie, and then Stay Woke. And all 3 of these songs, he tried some new things. Like Boblo Boat really felt like a Rick Ross type song, how he does soulful stuff. I'm thinking J. Cole kind of does that sort of thing also, but there's a few more cats that actually do that I don't remember. Maybe Nas, some of those folks, but that was pretty good. It was very soulful. I enjoyed that. And the next one was Stay Woke, which was kind of in that same vein also, just not as mesmerizing. And, it has some different person on the hook, but it's that's the thing about it. So those 2 songs had a nice feel to them. It kind of feels, it does have like a sort of East Coast feel to it, but considering that he's from Michigan, it's kind of strange that he would just consider himself to be East Coast, because he's kind of more Midwest. I mean, that would almost seem what it would be, but I guess that's the thing. But then, the other single was Dumb featuring Boogie. And I kind of wanted to start talking about Boogie just a bit, just because, obviously he just dropped an album and he's the new signee on Eminem's label. So Eminem dropped a song or Boogie dropped a song with Eminem called Rainy Days, and they just did a video for it. So I'm kind of interested to see how that pans out. I need to know exactly what they're doing. But, those are the 4 singles, and I'd say most of them are standout. I would probably just go straight for Caterpillar, but then the second best of the singles is probably Dumb with Boogie. Even if he's kind of a newcomer, I still feel like, that extra fit. The same person who produced Caterpillar produced Dumb, so that's probably why those are some of the best, beats on there. So the main thing is the production is just kind of, I mean, the original reason why I was going to score this so low is just because there wasn't quite a beat as good as Caterpillar, but it just has a lot of different approaches to it. Like I reviewed someone called Stally off Rick Ross's label a few years back, and it kind of has that sort of vibes to it. Ritz kind of does this also, how it has like a certain, you might as well be listening to it in your vehicle or something like that, kind of cruising around town, kicking back, thinking of nothing, maybe a cigarette in the car, smoking, something like that. I mean, it's kind of just a more mellow vibe to it, and at least the soulful songs kind of feel that way. I mean, honestly, a lot of the beats on here I could listen to maybe once and twice at most, and say I probably wouldn't listen to these hardly ever. But there's plenty of songs on there that you'll have to see some of that. I was kind of hoping for like more out more dazzling beat production or beat selection. That was kind of what I was hoping for, because Caterpillar really is good, and for Royce the 5'9", who really struggles getting on the Billboard 100 charts, it was a pretty surprise hit, and I was figuring, well, if he can do that once, I don't know why he couldn't do it 5 or 6 more times, which was kind of the situation there, but it just doesn't happen. Another hit song I felt was pretty stellar was the Summer on Lock song. Kind of reminded me of like a slight smoking song, but also just it felt pretty claustrophobic. As Pusha T, Jadakiss, Fabulous on there, so a bunch of East Coast cats, and that, I mean, it kind of reminded me of T-Shirt by Migos. I mean, that was something similar to that, but so I realized at first I didn't like it, but I can see myself being able to at least listen to it here and there. And there's kind of a handful of songs like that, but you just have to really kind of pick and choose. I feel like it's a pretty divisive project. I mean, for folks that just are looking for lyrics only, they'll probably like a bunch of songs that I said were not really that slick, just because obviously I think Royce tries to be a lyricist, and it's evident. I mean, with the things that he's done, I mean, just the fact that he's good buddies with Eminem and refers to him sometimes as Marshall, which is his actual name, means that it goes further than just the music side of things. I think that's obviously, it's good to have a few sparring buddies, but there weren't too many other folks I saw the chemistry with. I mean, I would kind of like to see some of these folks reappear on future projects, just to know if they're actually good together. But besides Eminem, most of them felt like just a one-time thing, or every once in a while thing. So, obviously, as far as like the rest of that goes, I'm probably just going to have to give this album, I'm probably going to have to give it like a 5.5 out of 10, because I'll tell you the 7 songs that I enjoyed just to kind of get that underway. So we've got Caterpillar. These are the songs I recommend you listen to. Caterpillar, Godspeed, Dumb, Boblo Boat, Legendary, Summer on Lock, and then Stay Woke. And out of about 21 records, there are several skits on here, but I'd probably say that's a little less than half, or just about half of the project. I think there's probably like 14, 15 or so records on here, so 7 out of 14. And I've scored albums like this in the past. I've given them like 6s out of 10, something like that. And I'd probably say that they're still a good purchase, but the main thing about it is just that it's still, I still feel like this record is going to leave a lot of people hungry. Just kind of where I came from with that was, it has what you're looking for in some cases, but it just doesn't have 3 or 4 renditions of what maybe each sort of thing you're looking for. You kind of get one little palette of each topic that maybe someone comes for, unless you're here for lyrics. That's basically how I've seen it. If you're here for like hot beats and good topics that are just kind of outgoing and club oriented, you may only get that like 1 or 2 times. If you're here for the soulful stuff, it's like maybe 2 or 3 times. But I mean, there's just a variety of different things that go on, and but it feels pretty scattered. I mean, that's the thing to it. So I would say, originally I was going to give some of those like almost songs, but I would just say most of those 7 records stand on their own. I'm starting to enjoy Royce the 5'9" more as a lyricist. He's starting to become a familiar voice, not just someone when you hear him with a bunch of other folks, like you can't pick him out in a crowd, which is good. I'm glad for that. It's kind of been helpful that that's been happening across the past several years. I do want to review his 2011 album Success is Certain, just to see if he had that spark that he kind of halfway has this time around, if he had that like 8 years ago now. But we'll just have to see how that goes. So obviously, would I recommend this album? I'd probably say yeah in some cases, but it just is not, when you say like it's a winner all day, it's not really all day that it's a winner. It's about half the day it's a winner. It's not a full all day win. So yeah, besides that, and I would say the social score is probably about like a 3 out of 10, just because the Eminem song is the highlight, but a lot of the other stuff, like the T-Pain record, didn't really do it for me. And besides Pusha T, Jadakiss and Fabulous, it's kind of, they're not as big names as they were in the past. And obviously some folks are just going for J. Cole, but I mean, J. Cole purposely always picks songs that are kind of introverted nowadays. That's kind of the thing. But yeah, I mean, I would just have to say social score gets a 3, and yeah, I do recommend this record. So it's been saying that he was going to put out some more stuff. I think he's honestly going to. I was going to review a few of his Prime records, but I just wound up not doing it just because I dislike the beat selection on those a lot more than here. But this is probably Royce the 5'9's best album. I would definitely say he rose above, unless success is certain really surprises me. I'd probably say that this is the highlight, but it's basically just because of, Caterpillar and then the Boogie song. Those are like the only real ones I felt like I could listen to outside of just when I'm listening to the album. When I'm just randomly listening to music, trying to hunt down those records and say that sort of thing is a little bit different. But yeah, so that's how it worked out. So I give this album a 5.5 out of 10. Social score gets a 3. And it's a mixed bag, but I would still recommend you look after it and see what's up with it.